Here we go. Here we go. Athletor Podcast. We are back again. Zack Esposito. And it is interesting, if nothing else, interesting to not see you wearing orange. So,
Yeah,
so
I,
tell me about that.
I haven't worn the color red in 20 something years because of OU. And now I proudly wear the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, man. We get super tribal about stuff, and when you really think about it, it's pretty silly. But what has it been like? I mean, because it is a transition. Like you have to unlearn like some of the things that you've been taught, which
Yeah.
is like the color red bad is bad. The color red bad, for 20 something years. It's stupid, I know, but it is ingrained in us.
Oh, it's so true too. I mean, I didn't own anything in my house that was red in Oklahoma, and now I'm every color. Yeah, I mean, it's an adjustment. But honestly, to tell you the truth, for me, I mean, I love the sport of wrestling so much, and I really geek out on this kind of things that, one of the big reasons I went to Oklahoma State was because of the resources and because of, the broad, amount of people throughout the entire country that's somewhat connected to Oklahoma State, and now I feel like I'm joined into an even bigger pool of people that I can learn from and really even help too. So it's super cool in that aspect. But yeah, getting over those things like, hey, the people from OU are actually my friends now, and the people from Iowa, they're my friends now. Penn State, those people are my friends now, and Ohio. I mean, not like they weren't friends before or anything like that, but it's a different type of thing where you wanted to always beat them, and then
Yeah.
now you really appreciate them and their work, and really, honestly, tell you the truth, learn from them and offer them as much help as I can give to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And learn. That for me has been one of the things about your career that has impressed me the most is your constant ability to learn. Where does that come? I got a good idea
I mean,
because
you know where that comes from.
I do, but I want you to say it. So
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I mean, we grew up together in New
yeah.
Jersey. I was the young kid running around the
Mhm.
wrestling, but the Edge School of Wrestling, Ernie Monaco, they embedded this love and passion for learning. And then, it really carried over to Coach Buxton at Blair Academy and Coach Fleckman and really Wayne K and all the staff that joined at Blair. And then obviously at Oklahoma State, where we had John, who was incredible and just the skill and everything. But not only that, I mean, I had a lot of Olympic guys that were around me, or that I was around every day. Guys like Daniel Cormier and Jamil Kelly and Eric Guerrero and just Mola Wall end up coming in later on, and Teague Moore. At one point, at Oklahoma State, we had three guys on the Olympic team that I was constantly learning from. So I'd go to training camps with them too, and this was when Kale was in his heyday, and watching them work out. And I don't know, I think just for me, I just always had that love and passion to to grow and to learn even more. I mean, um,
Yeah, you know what though, Zach? Here's the frustrating part to me.
mhm.
Here's the frustrating part. We know because we grew up in a room where it like look, we had hard practices, of course, don't be crazy, but there was a joy to going and competing and going to wrestle at that club. There was something really happy and fulfilling about it.
Mhm.
And I think here's what's frustrating to me is I see so many guys that are mid to low level high school and youth coaches that strip the joy out of that, out
Mhm.
of the training process, out of the competition process. They strip the joy out of it. How do we tell these coaches without making them totally soft? Like, we're not going to sit here and play tails all day, right? But how do we tell these youth coaches, because this is your job now, dude,
Yeah.
how do we tell these youth coaches that there has to be joy in what they do? Otherwise, they're not going to succeed at the next level.
Well, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think our leaders in the sport are doing a great job of it. Guys
Mm-hmm.
like, David Taylor and Daniel Cormier stepping in a lot more now, and Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs. I mean, if you listen to any of their messages, of course they're killers and they're going to
Sure.
win, want to win, and you put them all in the same room together, and you could just feel that that intensity coming out of them. But I think every message that they send, it is it is a learning aspect. There is a joy to it. There is a journey to it. There is a process to it. There is a stay in the moment, win the little battles and appreciate what you're going through. It's definitely more performance based thinking than it is outcome based thinking. And listen, man, I deal with it now as a kid. I think the cool thing is that I'm in a developmental job, and I'm right in the thick of development with my son, who's 11 years
Sure.
old. And it is frustrating. It is hard. I don't know if it's because it's your son, but I definitely have a lot more patience towards other kids than my than my own son sometimes. But I think just reminding ourselves that Rome's really not built in a day. I look at my career and see where I'm at, and how I got to the spot that I'm at, and I'm going like, how the heck did I even get here? It's
I think about it all the
pretty crazy.
time.
Um,
I think about that all the time. I'm like, what did I do right? This is funny. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I think that's just, you're doing it for the right reason. But, I think there are a lot of great coaches out there. Just being in Colorado and seeing the different clubs and different people, um, you know, they're building the right attitudes towards the kids. I mean, they're definitely, you know, uh, we just had guys from Valiant in, and I mean,
mhm,
Eric Larkin and Angel Cejudo. I mean, those guys are studs, man.
absolutely. And
And it,
they are preaching the right thing. They really are.
exactly,
Like,
they're doing the right thing, and listen, they're patient.
oh,
I mean, look at Kyler now. He just won the regional tournament. He had a heck of a NYC tournament, and I think that you just don't know when it hits. And that's why I said I look at my career, and if you told me the position that I would be in or have been at Oklahoma State and won a national title there, like if you told me that as a freshman in high school, and I would be like, you're crazy. Like one, I was struggling to even make the team at Blair, and two, like you
well,
know
yeah, but you also like to put things in perspective. You also were part of one of the greatest high school teams ever.
Yeah, but that
Like,
came that came a little bit later. That came later on in my high school career. But if you look at me as a freshman, I mean, I was not
right.
anything. It was actually great. The position that I was in because I had so many guys ahead of me, like Corey Cooperman and Kurt Backus, and these guys were Fargo All Americans, and I'm just this kid popping in. Mako came in my sophomore year, but Murat Tamayev was a kid, from Osadia that if you were known back then, he was an incredible wrestler. So I got to kind of hide and take my lumps without getting noticed,
Mhm.
and it gave me a little bit of freedom to, you know, if I went out there and threw an inside trip and got pinned on my back, like
Ain't nothing but a thing.
it didn't go noticed as much, maybe
Right.
missed it and down onto me after. But, because I was able to do that and get pinned, I also got to, go on to learn how to actually execute it the right way or plenty other moves that, gave me the freedom to fail. And I think that, in development and especially even just, listen, development and coaching is the same thing as almost being a parent. It's like you got to give your kids the freedom to fail, and you can't take it personal as a parent and as a coach that if your kid does it. I mean, listen, I'm really involved in my kids wrestling, in a sense of I am and I'm not. Like I should make that clear. It's like I know I have to give him space because it's his thing, and at the
Mhm.
same time, like I want to be involved because like I feel like maybe I could help you, but at the same time, it's
I feel like I know a thing or two.
yeah, but it's just this balance, balance between all of it. But it's also a thing that's his thing. But it's the same thing as a parent's like, for me in my position, I think maybe the tide is shifting with coaches and their kids wrestling, you know.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I think the
100%.
tide is completely shifted of that where um I don't know if the kids feel the pressure like from their parents or from their dad that might have been a good wrestler or a great coach at the time. But you know, listen, there's a lot of good wrestlers right now whose parents were good wrestlers and they're
Yeah.
coaching and helping them coach. Um,
Right.
and like a guy like Larkin has a great resource and Angel that's able to help his kids. But you know, there's a ton out.
But here's the cool thing about Larkin. This, I don't know if many people get to peek under the hood at this. Eric Larkin is more of a workout partner for his sons than he is yo, I'm not kidding. Like he's just a drill dummy.
Yeah,
And like that's an NCAA champion. Like
yeah,
that's a pretty bad dude. And Cejudo does 98% of the coaching. 98%. Like he's just there going, maybe not there. You know, like and he's got such a good feel, but he's a workout partner, dude.
yeah. Well,
And that's all he wants to be.
that's nice. I mean, I hope my body can withstand it for another 8 years to be a workout partner for my son. You know, just because it's fun to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that shift is changing. You know, where you know a lot more wrestlers, kids are not only wrestling but actually being successful. You know, and
Why do you think that they weren't
I
20,
don't
30
know.
years ago?
I don't know why. You know, I don't. I wish I knew. I mean, look at Schwab's kids or doing. I think I don't know. I mean that's the question. Maybe just
You know they pushed too hard. You know they did.
could be. You know,
I'm certain of it. Like and I'm not gonna drop names, okay, because that would be shitty. But I remember having like I remember like high level coaches. When I say high level coaches, Division I coaches that I don't know, without saying names, mid-level Division I coaches would run their kids into the ground, had them in the wrestling room at the college at like 12 and like getting their heads kicked in.
yeah. I think that maybe like we're just not taking it personal. Like maybe some older coaches could have taken. You know, like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think that I'm more excited that my son is in it than not be in it. You
Dude,
know, I think that's a big.
that's a big win.
I think that's a big shift. You know, it's like, listen, I do like, you know, videos, of technique videos, and I have my son on them. And honestly, sometimes I'm teaching my son as I'm teaching the in the video. I'm teaching
Yeah.
him to do it. You know, and people probably like, man, his son's gonna be so good because he's up with him every day. I'm like, it's not really like that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
we're definitely working technique, we're definitely working some things, but I'm not up his butt like
No.
people maybe think that I am. Um, but yeah, I think that's the shift. I think the shift of just that, you know, they're not, I think they're more appreciative that they're in the sport. I think that they want them to do well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's not the end all be all. Like, you know, my relationship with my son is, and I try to take this approach with him, and is that it's something that we can share in rather than
That's
feeling
right.
it's
Well,
us. And I
you
can't
know,
hear it. He's not good.
right. Yeah. Here's the beautiful part. My thought process is this. I'm excited that I'll have somebody to watch NCAAs with in a couple years. Right. Like I just when he's home, like, all right, hey, let's go out to NCAAs. Cool. All right. And like he'll be fired up to watch as much as I will. Right. And that's just a thing that we'll do. And like that's what I'm excited about. That's the only reason I give a shit for us. He already won.
Yeah, like one of my best friends back in Stillwater, his name's Matt Holliday. He played baseball for the Cardinals and won a World Series with them. But his one son was the number one draft pick, and he went from like low A to triple A in 1 year, and probably will start for the Orioles next year. And he has got another son that's below him, that's a junior, that's number one overall ranked baseball player in the country, could probably go top five out of the draft too. And it's like going like, how the heck and the relationships they have with each other is unbelievable. But of what I saw, you know, how they do it is like they really just sharing it more as a joy than anything. Now it's baseball, and maybe like in wrestling, when you lose, like there's a
It's a
lot
little bit
less
more personal. Yeah, for sure.
more personal. Maybe, but like in baseball, you
I don't
get
know. You get rocked. If you're on the mound and you get rocked for 4 runs in an
yeah,
inning,
yeah. But
that's pretty personal.
I always appreciated it of his approach, to it too. Like how he was able to, really. I mean, they sit down, they watch it together. They go over to the field, they hit together, they go do all that kind of stuff together. And I think that even if you asked him, it's like the time that he gets to spend with them is more important than really what they're doing and get into the league and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely cool to see. And I think that I don't know, maybe we're viewing the sport in a different way than of life and death to actually, some other, I've been around Steve Maka where it was like life and death, and there's a little bit of that approach that was even helpful, to me at times. But I don't know how healthy or sustainable it actually is. And I think the approach now that we're seeing from some of the best wrestlers in the world, um, I think that it's a good lesson that everyone's learning. It's a journey, it's a process. The more and more I'm around these high level wrestlers, I'm like, damn, it's hard to do this.
Really
Like,
hard.
it's
No,
really
look,
hard.
it's
It's really hard to be the one
really,
that represents the country.
really hard.
It's a
So hard,
yeah,
especially now, especially today. Like, forget it.
yeah. I
Joel,
mean,
you got something for him?
Yeah, how does that kind of thought process of, we're talking a lot about younger level, wrestlers, but how does that lead into kind of the work that you do with some of the senior level guys? Has that kind of changed some of your views on how you kind of bring development to that as well?
yeah, I think you just think of the process throughout all of it. I think it's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is like you realize these young kids can do a lot of things that these older guys can do. They just might not be strong enough yet, or they just might not be mentally mature enough yet. But you're able to actually take the same skill. I mean, we do a lot at the Olympic Training Center when we have our developmental camps or senior level camps where we have developmental kids in that are rubbing elbows with these high level guys. And I mean, they're on like fast track, you
Yeah.
know, to be really good. And it's just the other thing too. They have so much accessibility to everything. Um, I don't know how much it actually feels like. So like I kind of think about development in the sense of like you're almost developing through osmosis. Like the more you get these guys around, the high level guys, and what is rubbed off of them is more valuable than even me showing them a specific technique to a low single leg or a sweep single leg or whatever technique it might be. Because you go in here and you watch all these kids drill and they're all drilling like high level people, you know. Um, but there's something else that rubs off from those older guys onto the younger guys that like really separates them from.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
What part of the sport do you think? I agree with you. Osmosis is a good way to put it. It just kind of permeates to them, right? What part of the sport do you think rubs off the most? Is it like the technical aspect? Is it the way
No,
that they train?
I think it's the joy, like the lifestyle. I think that's what rubs off it the most. I mean, you read books on like, why is this area so good at this sport? And you think about Russia and Dagestan and Ossetia and now you look at America and Pennsylvania and everything. It's just like there's a lifestyle to it. And that lifestyle rubs off on them. It's like they go into the sport thinking that I know what the pinnacle of the sport is and this is the goal to get to. I think that's the big thing. I mean, when you put, you know, there's a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old and he walks in a room and he's watching Jordan Burroughs drill or Kyle Dake or David Taylor or whoever it might be, it's like right there, they're going like, this is the pinnacle and this is like the idea of being the best. I think that is the biggest thing that rubs off, I mean, the skill, all that kind of stuff comes. I mean, heck, now these kids, got Instagram that you could learn any wrestling move or technique. You could watch a live event in some random country that, didn't even have a video recorder back when we were young. So, but I think that's the biggest thing that rubs off is the lifestyle, the love of the sport, the work ethic, and the approach to it, and the approach to the sport. And yeah, that's the mindset is like, USA just won back-to-back world championships. This is who we are,
That's pretty cool, Zach.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool because it was not always like that.
No, I mean, we're in a golden era right now.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, that's attributed to the coaches throughout the country. I mean, I just went to the U15 Pan Am Championships, and listen, man, when I was competing seniors, like, we never had personal coaches go to our stuff, let alone now I'm at U15s and we got club coaches at the U15 championships. So their involvement is a lot bigger. The funding, has been helpful. I mean, everything. I mean, we've the country has come together is the reason why we're doing so well. It's not just one organization or one place or one this. It's just like
no
together, the whole
yeah.
country.
I think it started with Zeke, though, right? I mean, like, I think the idea of like, okay, wait, first of all, that was right around your era, right? Like, you were competing around that time when Zeke took over. And I remember you coming out and doing a camp with me one time, just going, something's got to change. So, and it wasn't like you were pointing a finger at one person or another, but something definitely changed, right?
Yeah, like the brand came because we had clubs. It was a 50-mile radius club, and you had your Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling Club, the Cowboy Wrestling Club.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many different factors that come into it that I don't think it's just only the RTC model. I think the RTC model has given universities a brand and a brand that, like, hey, this is what we're actually trying to do. And I think that was helpful. I think obviously getting younger kids into, you know, high level coaching, high level partners. And like I said, it's not so much of just the teaching as much as, just being around it and just that's new expectation. I think all that was important. I think all that has really contributed to it. The other thing too is I think it's just gotten so competitive too, of the sense of every college now has gotten really competitive.
Yeah.
And with that competitiveness, it raises up their communities. Just you look at I've given those examples of colleges that when I was competing, you never thought about them.
No.
Literally, we're like, it was a weekend off. I mean,
Yeah.
we constantly trained through the week because, it was a 7-minute match, and that 7-minute match was literally, it was literally a day off. Now there's no days off. There's no weekends off. There's none of that kind of stuff off. Now you're actually seeing like, maybe we need to lower the season. Maybe we need to lower the match. Maybe we need to, how can we protect our guys from injury? How can we, do this kind of stuff? So I think that it was just like it came just to a head. I think the RTCs and the club system definitely helped put a brand on things, help give guys money that they could stay in the sport. The Living the Dream Fund, the Novagrasses that come in and all the other donors that have come in to help us, keep our guys in the sport, give them a carrot to fight for. And then you add the competitiveness of the coaches that have gone around and not just been at the big universities, but actually gone to, the other universities and made a name for themselves. So,
Terry Colott got Campbell good.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what? Like, Campbell was good, right? Like, that's a big deal, dude. And when you, like you said, you don't have a weekend off, it keeps you pretty sharp, dude.
Yeah, keeps you sharp. And like I said, I mean, college coaches are making money now too.
Yeah, there's that.
You're not making $50,000 anymore as a college coach. You're making a living.
Yeah.
We're not making football. You're not making football coaches.
Well, no, but that's fine. But I think that's the I think the only missing link right now, honestly, the missing link is the money. You're right. College coaches are making money for sure. They're not struggling. They don't have to go do camps just to make ends meet. I get that. But we still are not profitable, right? We're at any level, we're really not profitable. That is the final step as far as I'm concerned. We have to find a way. And now look, I'm pretty sure you weren't an economics major. Neither was I.
No.
So, but if there was a way right now for you to say, all right, here's how we make this sport profitable. How do we do it? Because it's complicated. It's not an easy, oh, we just got to do this. It's not that easy. It's really hard.
I mean, there's wrestling organizations that are profitable.
For sure.
They found the niche. They found how to do it,
No doubt.
And I think wrestlers now are finding their own way of making their own money.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, but as a sport as a whole, you're going to have to, be able to hit the mainstream. You're going to have to be able to, obviously profit from events that, if you're going to create professional athletes, then you create a professional, type of deal that generates money. That's able to pay the athletes. Who knows where it leads to, of what's going to be the professional organization.
It's so hard.
There's
a
lot of those things. I mean, I think that we branched out so much to other things that the other people have been able to generate and make revenue. But how can you do it? I mean, I don't know. You look at the professional sports and it's just, where can you do it? I think everyone jumps in there. It feels like wrestling sometimes is like an open market,
Sure.
Where other professional sports, there's that one governing body, and then, they create the revenue, they give the revenue out to professionals, UFC, whatever it might be, and I always felt like wrestling was that opening market that different organizations jump in there. And I don't want to get into it and maybe say something that I don't really knows to be true or sound in a way, but yeah, I think that is the next step, is how do you create a full professional platform that is able to generate revenue, and sell, and not be an open market. But I think, like you said, I'm not an economics major, but I will say this though. I think that, and this is a theory of mine, and I think it's something that, as a college coach, it hurt, or maybe I felt a different way about it. But it's also the world and the way that we're going in. I think that some of this self-branding, and if you could do it in a way where it doesn't affect you, in the way of pressure or just time or just whatever it might be, I think it's going to be a big reason why guys do continue to wrestle, for multiple cycles in the Olympics. I mean, when you have a brand and you're identified as a wrestler, the things that you do, whether it be camp, whether it be videos, whether it be merchandise, whether it be whatever it is, it's speaking engagements, or club. I mean, your platform is built off of you as a wrestler. And I think those are things that, as people get older, or some of these kids that are realizing it and seeing it, it's going to be a way of profit for them as they get older.
Well, look at DT, right? Like, look at David, right? Like, I mean, that's, here's the thing. When John won his second Olympic gold medal, I mean, he took a pay cut to go win another gold medal. Like, so, but
that's the same thing that could happen to other people. I don't know, because to me, so established. Like Jordan Burroughs, when he retires, I'm sure he's so established.
Yeah.
That
but if he keeps on, but if David and Jordan keep on winning, understand that they are going to make a lot more money than the year after, right? Because the year after John won it in '92, he actually started making money as a head coach.
Well, it just would be, it would be, I don't know. I mean, I've been around John so much. He's a pretty, to himself
Right.
person. He's not a flaunter. He's not a person that's going to go out there and put himself out there that's going to put pressure on himself or take his eye off the vision. I think now maybe kids are definitely, they're not just tunnel vision only on one thing. They're
Right.
actually seeing this as an opportunity that it can create other things later on. I think, so it'd be surprising to see. I mean, listen, even when John wrestled, he had Brute, he had Doliver. I mean,
Right.
there were those things. There was no social media for him to go post it. If
Right.
there was social media back then, you know, I mean, Brute was going to make him probably a social media platform and manage it for him. Those things would have happened because it generated you know
Revenue.
revenue for you. You know, so it'd be interesting to see how the older generation of guys would have did that. They might have said, no, no, I would never done it, never done it. And all of a sudden see some dollar signs and be like, okay, just you do it and let me, so those things could be there. But right now you're starting to see, I mean, the management of it, and I don't think they see it as pressure. I think they see it as opportunity to grow their brand, to spread their message of what they feel and all those kind of things. I mean, I wasn't a person that was really active or social on social media. And then at the same time, I just was like, hey man, like there's some knowledge you could share on this. There's some other things you could build off of. I mean, people enjoy it. So you might as well kind of get into it.
I think it's a really interesting point there. And one of the guests we've had on our show before, Caden Henschel, he's a D2, I think D2 wrestler. And, he talks about like he's not scared to post a video of losing at a tournament. And, he talks about how that vulnerability helps connect him with his audience because they can relate to that fact, right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't post something I
I
lost.
fucking knew you were going to say
It's right.
that. There's no chance you would. There's
Oh my
no
God.
chance.
I hate it. I have a joke with my EAP guys, like my resident athletes. They're like, Coach, we searched your name up on YouTube. I'm like, he's like, you lost every match that's on YouTube. I'm like, I didn't lose much in college, and it just so happens that every match that I lost is on YouTube. Like my kids think I'm terrible. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you get opportunities for it. I don't know. I mean, I still struggle with, is this cringy to put this on, or is it arrogant to put this on, or are you, you know, what are you doing? Put this, are you, but then again, I don't know. I think it's just, listen, it's the way the world is right now. And I think that this is how, this is not going away. It's not going away at all. So we might as well embrace it and have a healthy way of doing it, or trying to have a healthy way of doing it than any other,
Sure.
type.
All right. So let's gear this towards development. That is your job. Your job is to develop
Mhm.
wrestlers through this sport.
Yeah.
It's tough though.
I've been in this job for 4 months now. And so I really have like two parts of the job. Is like one, I have a residence program where it's called the EAP program, where I'm given so many beds, and I'll have either seniors in high school or gap year kids move here for a full year, and develop underneath our system here, in the sense of like, the multiple training camps throughout the year where, you're a part of the daily practices, the competition schedule of going to these college opens. So, we've been to 3 college opens this fall already. We're going to France in January for a tournament, for the Nice tournament and a training camp. And then, so um, the EAP program, the residence program is a little bit different in the sense of I have them for a year and I'm trying to get them prepared for, their college and there on after, and help teach them the skills that could that will help you be, treat yourself like a professional athlete, your strength conditioning, your sports science, your nutrition, your sports psychiatry, some of the resources resources that we have at the United States Olympic, training centers, it's pretty incredible. But you just got to create the right environment, with the right wrestlers that, fit that mold. And then outside of that, my job after that is developmental coach. And, you know, it's not the sense of say what you're doing at the high school or what you're doing at a club or that things. It's definitely an involvement in a management type of sense of, yes, I'm running developmental camps throughout the year. We've had 3 camps here in the past 4 months where, we've had, groups and numbers of the top kids in the country come out to the training center. And that's a part of development. And continue to have those U17 world team camps, U20 world team camps, U23 world team camps. There's that sense. But then on top of it, there's a communication of management with the coaches, with athletes, throughout the country. So I think that's a thing that I value a lot
Yeah.
about is that I respect and I'm grateful for, the effort and work that coaches throughout the country really put in, and it's up to me also to, provide help for them also and provide support for them. So my relationships with them, whether me come out and try and help them, whether they call me up and say, hey, I want the, can this guy come out to a training camp or can you do this or can you do that? It's extreme involvement. I mean, I think my first trip that I went on was not a senior level, was not a U23 or U20, it was a U15, because recognizing that at a grassroots, this is an important age group. These are the guys that are going to be sooner or later on a U17 world team and maybe someday be on the Olympic team. It's where that journey kind of starts, right at that 15, 16, year old, passion. So um, it, I'm getting a better grasp on everything, especially being out here and really doing the job the way that I feel is how it should be run. Communication with RTCs and communication with coaches of kids on campus, like, Alex Facundo's going to the Nice tournament, yeah, I'm talking to Varner about him. What do I need to help him with and what do I need to do with him? Um, hey, this kid's committed to this college and he wants to come out his senior year or a gap year to do the program here. Well, yeah, there's communication with that coach and working with them on his development to make sure they're on track. So, it's a lot of communicating, and it's a lot of just, I think you have to have a person in this position that's not power hungry in a sense
Mm.
of they're willing to, listen, if the United States does well, we're going to do well, so that's kind of the approach that I take to it.
Yeah, it's managing the managers a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, a little bit. And at the same time, I mean, you are doing actual nuts and bolts development because, I'll have guys out here all the time. I mean, I had a group out here in October for a senior trick camp. We had about 12 kids come out. And then in November, we had another group of kids come out. Daniel Cormier sent some guys out also for a couple of days. We have another one in January. So any opportunities we get where people come out, my goal is like once a month being able to have, guys out here, kids out here.
They're
Um,
so skilled right now. These high school kids are so skilled right now, like across the board, like the level. We talked about the college kids, how there's no easy weekends anymore.
so I want,
Well,
I kind of want to like touch base on that. I was talking to Bill Zadek about this the other day, and I don't, it bothers me sometimes to see high school kid takes out so and so.
mm,
Now,
mhm,
if you were in Russia and you got a 19-year-old kid that takes out a senior level guy, they don't go, they just go, hey, this kid is good. This is
yeah,
a kid that's good. And it's
mhm,
almost expected that
yeah,
they're like, it's going to happen. It's just when and who it is.
uh-huh,
Like, the Bahrainian, the guy that wrestles for,
yeah,
Ashdinov of going, they expect that a young guy's going to come in and and take guys out. But in the United States, it's this wow factor. Wow, how did this high school kid come in here and qualify for the Olympic trials? Wow, how did this high school kid? And I'm just going like, hey, no, no, no. Like, we got to embrace that. I'm just
He's a
going,
highlight. It's a wonderful thing. Connor
I,
Mirasola is real good at
and
wrestling.
honestly, to tell you the truth, they put the pressure on the older guys to be like, if I was an older guy and I'm wrestling a younger guy, I can't look at this kid as a high school kid. I got to look at this kid as competition. And if
Mm-hmm.
these older guys are looking at them as a high school kid and feeling, pressure and nervous about losing to a high school kid, it's like, yo, you got to flip it because this kid's good.
Yeah.
How old he is. Satia won, world championships at 19. Kyle Snyder won a world championships at 19, 20 years old. It's like, no, they're just good.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the age, forget the high school, forget the tag that comes along with them, and just embrace it going, this is going to happen more often in the United States, guys.
It's supposed to.
Yeah. And listen, that's the thing too. It's like the way that our system is in this country, it's set up that it's supposed to be this way now.
Yeah.
So the same way that's in Russia of going, yeah, this 19, 20-year-old kid, it's like this young guy, it's like, hey, they expect that.
Yeah.
And those other guys that are wrestling them, they don't see this kid as a young kid. They see him as just competition. I think that in the United States, we need to start appreciating that rather than label a high school kid like it's this big surprise. It's going, no, this is going to happen more often now.
Yeah. That kid Marisol, he had a great weekend.
Yeah,
He's
Lil Ball. I mean, all these guys that are popping in there. I mean,
yeah.
look, they talk about Marcus Blaze beating, Ramos.
The kid from Purdue. Yeah.
And then you go to Ironman tournament, you take second. I'm not saying that
It's wild.
to knock on any of them.
No.
Not a knock on Davino. It's not a knock on Blaze. What it is like this is a reality. This
Yeah.
is where we're at right now. So, it's definitely clickbait and that kind of stuff to be like high school kid takes out so and so. I mean, like, hey, you don't have that tag. I mean, just start getting rid of that tag because it's just going to be,
It's going to happen more often.
It's
Sure.
happen more often.
Yeah. I got to tell you, it's kind of cool to watch because, and it's also like, it's funny. I had a conversation about this on a different podcast with Lawrence, but here's the thing. People think that that's a new thing. It is not a new thing. Ask your boy Branch, right? Like Branch lost to Damian Hahn at the U.S. Open after winning an NCAA title. Damian was in high school at the time.
Just wasn't broadcast, well,
right.
there wasn't a broadcast to put it on there.
No.
Which I'm sure Branch will be happy about.
I'm sure he would too.
But I think that, I mean, it's right. I mean, what Dave Schultz took second as
a high school kid.
School, Kerry Colott. I mean,
yeah.
Kubo won Midlands and as a young person. I mean, Steve Mocco.
Yes.
We've had
Chance Marsteller. I mean, we could rattle off
off all of it. It's just it's definitely broadcasted a lot more now, and I just I don't know. I guess it always kind of strikes a nerve is just going like, let's just get rid of the awe factor or the wow factor and just go like, hey, yeah, this is just reality now. It's like it's expected.
So who then, if we're all deciding that these are some of the most skilled young wrestlers that we've ever seen, who's really impressed you the most so far? Like if you're looking at it from just a purely skill performance level.
Oh, pure skill? I mean, there's quite a bit. I mean, I think what's impressive is I think sometimes when the younger guys that are up at the higher weight classes, sometimes it's just because of pure strength difference. A guy like Mirasola being able to wrestle a 20-something-year-old just because of the pure strength, just the physical attribute, skill wise. I mean, to see some of Lilidol's reattacks are unbelievable. Joe Seeley being able to, I mean, that's also impressive too, is seeing, Seeley go out there and be able to hand fight with a Marinelli is impressive. I mean, especially those middleweight guys. And I don't know whether there's a theory of whether a younger guy can compete better at a lighter weight or a heavier weight compared to a middleweight. Then you got a guy like Valencia that's able to compete. And then I think there's guys that are not competing in the senior level that are staying within their age group that are maybe even better. You know what I mean? You know, guys like a Blaze or Davino or Jax Flores or I mean, I'm a firm believer in staying in your age level. And if you're good enough to go compete at the Olympic stage or the Olympic trials as a senior, like be good enough to win that U20 World Championships too, or U Championships too. I think that there's always, not to say that they won't do that,
No,
too, but I think that you know those are those opportunities. But I don't mean they're all really impressive to just say it. I think that and we're seeing the cream of the crop. I mean, listen, there might be a guy when they're you know midway through college or right after college that breaks out, and you're just like, this wasn't that kid that was 16 years old and making these world teams or
no
17.
doubt. Yeah, those are fun though. Like
Have
the
those
kid that, like, look at Jordan, right? I mean, like Jordan Burroughs,
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't lights out in high school. He was good, right? But he wasn't lights out like he was when he was at the end of his college career.
No, Jordan will tell you that was one of his biggest motivations, that he wasn't wasn't recruited.
Yeah.
The best wrestler on his block. So uh,
That's awesome. That's such a great way to put it. And it's probably true, you know?
well, I mean, he said that he got recruited in Nebraska because his neighbor got recruited in Nebraska. They're like, "Wait, you wrestle too?" Yeah, I won the state championship. All right, well, come on. I think that
Shit, you weren't the best wrestler at your table at dinner, right? I mean, like David's pretty good, man.
yeah. So I think that you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how, but skill wise, I mean, but the resources that they have now, the videos and all that kind of stuff, it's just, it's impressive to watch.
Hmm. Got anything for him, Joel, before we get to those quick questions?
Yeah, I'm curious, you talked about working with kind of some of the individual clubs, as they, leave your purview there in Colorado. What does that process look like to kind of help coach and develop a wrestler when you don't have access to them on a daily basis? Maybe you don't know them if you don't see them all the time. What does that process look like?
Yeah, I think, trying to create, I've kicked around ideas, with actually some of the coaches that are in some of those leagues, like the P&L league and stuff, talking to Lawrence and a couple others, like, how do I create a better outreach? Is it putting together, um, you know, media that can actually reach the media, meaning like, videos and technique breakdown and things that we're looking at USA Wrestling, that they should be looking at, for their guys. I think being able to share information like that. Um, you know, yeah, I mean, I get pretty local around here in Colorado to be able to get out and see other clubs and people. I am at the same time only one person and trying to make sure I also keep a marriage, but yeah,
Solid
I mean,
point. Solid point.
I think that the communicating with the coaches is probably the bigger part, that even though you might not be affecting the kid directly, you're able to maybe influence through other ways. And that's what I mean. I mean, I lean hard on those coaches, on those club coaches. And listen, those club coaches are also very welcoming and very open to be able to do it. I mean, yeah, I've been lucky. I've been hanging out with Angel and Larkin the past, I've probably seen them 3 times in the past month and a half. So to be able to kind of, you know, maybe not directly get to the kid, but being able to communicate with their coach that it goes that way is pretty. But I've been thinking about other ways of how to do this, of how to be an influence to them.
Yeah. Because it's important now that we have these abilities to reach people instantaneously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially video calls. No reason you can't run joint practices,
Yeah.
time permitting, right? You should be able to. I mean, shit, we were doing it. I mean, Coleman, I piped Coleman in when I was back in Jersey, back in like 2015. I used to pipe him into practices. Just all right. Here's Coleman Scott on the TV. Like it's really we've got to take advantage of this soon, right? Because it's I think it's probably going to be the future. All right, we got to get going here. So let's run you through some of these quick questions that we do every week.
Oh, great.
Espo, here we go. What's the best wrestling shoe ever made?
Best wrestling shoe ever made? Oh man, ones that were free. Those are the best ones.
Fair enough. What's your favorite?
Wrestling shoe? I don't know. I mean, I was an Adidas guy back in the day, so I always liked, some of those like the Adidas. There was these attacks that were really, really good that me and Pendleton used to like stockpile them just because when they burn through them, it always seems like the best shoe they make, they stop making it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nike used to make some good ones back in the day, like Colots, or there was a foot sweep before Colots, or
Yeah.
really comfortable. Um, you know, I haven't worn those Asics like the ones that all the Russians wear and Japanese guys wear. My ankles
The EXEOs, dude.
probably pretty brittle for those.
Yeah. Dude, my son loves them. Like I got a pair of the Russian blues for him. He's gonna be so fired up.
Best pair though are the ones that are free.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right. If you had a magic wand and you could change one thing about the sport of wrestling, what would it be?
Oh, that generates money so that we actually be all professionals. That's easy.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I mean, we act like we're broke. We're not broke. I mean,
No,
we're doing all right. It's just
no.
create it. You just gotta create. That and maybe sometimes that we're just not our own worst enemy.
Oh my God.
Just
Yes.
we gotta put aside sometimes personal agendas to be, to evolve the sport, to better the sport, to make it more mainstream. Think outside the box.
I
You know,
literally had this conversation with my son last night.
just saw
He,
women's volleyball be on ABC for the national championships, and you know, I think that's what really stinks because during COVID we had the NCAA championships were supposed to be in a football stadium, and
Mhm.
1,000 tickets were sold, and it felt like we were on the right track, and then COVID hit, and I wish that they can go back to that, and revisit that, and try to maybe do that again.
Yeah, I don't know but the we shoot ourselves in the foot thing, like at every turn, like we are such creatures of habit that I don't like change, at all. So yeah, that's the one. My son and I literally spent an hour talking about that last night. He's like, "Why don't we just do this?" I'm like, oh, "I know. I've been screaming about it for 35 years. I know. I'm exhausted with it."
Change is hard. Change is hard, and when you have something going good, it's hard to change it. It's like I said,
Mhm.
sometimes it's nice to be able to make mistakes where eyes aren't on you to figure it
Mhm.
all out. Well, we kind of had a platform that things were going good, things are going great, and sometimes maybe it hurts us and prevents us from changing.
Yeah, 100%. All right, last one. Who is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
Like the United States or the world?
United States.
Oh, United States. Well, you got to put John. You got to put
Mm-hmm.
John Gable.
Mm-hmm. Kale.
Um, John Gable, Kale, Schultz.
All right, so that's four.
He's on Mount Rushmore. Five,
Four.
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 I
All
mean,
right, so Schultz.
yeah.
All right, I
I
like
mean,
it.
there's so many you could throw on there. You know, I mean, you got Baumgartner. There's so many. I mean,
I don't know if Baumgartner's hair could
that's the
fit.
thing. It's like you couldn't build a whole new Rushmore, Mount Rushmore, because it just wouldn't make sense. So you always have to go towards the pioneers of the sport.
Sure.
So guys like Taylor, guys like Burroughs, guys like all these guys, it's like, hey, you're just too new. You know,
You're too young. Sorry, bud. You missed the boat.
listen, this is a historical thing. Think about people that pioneered the sport, and I think those are some. Even Kale could be young for it too, but he's a
Body
guy.
of work, though, it's pretty impressive.
I know he's a guy that they're going to create it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many.
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Good. I'm glad. All right, Joel, thank you so much for coming on. And Zach, thank you especially. I really do appreciate your time. Look, if there's any way that people need to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you on Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram's the best. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
that's the best way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Later, bud.